Yo, people of the podcast world, what's going on out there? It's your boy, DJ Earthquake. I got Dr. Fem Dizzle with me.
Girl, you make me loco. You make me play do. And you want this do. I even buy you motor. Oh no, oh no. You say you want me low, but you leave me go. It could have been something different. Man, y'all don't know the song, man. Y'all don't listen to AG. Nancy, you know this song?
I do.
Oh, y'all join me.
Why did you not join him?
It could have been something different.
I don't like to take people.
You say you want in my money.
I don't like to take people.
We could be loving my honey, kissing and cuddling, living Miami. Join me.
Nah, you know, Zoom doesn't take on time, so it would be delayed. It's okay. I'll let you have your.
Hey, baby, it's your baby.
That's a good.
That one song is for August Alsina and Jada Pinkett. If you listen to the lyrics, take it away, quick.
All right, I got King Meaty via LA.
Bust that pussy open and I tell her bring it back. Bust that hey, right on. Girl, show me some love when I hit it from the back. Girl, show me
Warm up.
Bust it.
Somebody misses the DMV.
Hey, I miss home, man. I've been said this.
Aww.
Alrighty. I got Y'all on the Moon with me.
Giving the people all the entanglements they want.
Chee!
We are the Africanists. This is Travel Talk. Welcome to another week here with us.
Hey.
I almost fumbled. Want to give a big shout out to everybody that tuned into No Such Thing as Halfway last week with our good friend, brother Reflex, who detailed his entire book. Big ups to everybody that commented, listened, reposted, and all of that. Much love to y'all. Yeah, so we got two people on the pod today, but before we introduce these two people, I wanted to go ahead and make mention of a post that one of our Black lawyer friends, Jumi, she added the African song today. And essentially it says, of the nation's three largest school districts, New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, only Los Angeles has begun responding to calls to remove police from public schools, a move supported by the teachers union by the teachers union there and in Chicago. School districts in Portland, Seattle, Oakland, Charlottesville, Denver, San Francisco, and Prince George's County, Maryland, are in the process of following Minneapolis's lead and investing instead in social workers, counselors, and nurses. This is part of the broader movement around the country to scale back and reform policing.
Let's get it.
So I wanted to go ahead and start off the pod with some lovely news like that. Well, with that being said, we have two lovely young ladies joining us today. One returning guest, 3-time return guest. She's a good friend of ours. She's quiet but spicy. All the way from Haiti.
Never quiet.
It's DY Cynthia.
Sac passé.
Hi, everyone.
Daphne.
On again. Fellas. It's always a pleasure.
You are here today for a reason.
Make it good.
And we have another young lady hailing from Cameroon, Ms. Nancy Konjo. Did I say that right? Konjo.
He's a queen.
Can you tell the people of the podcast word about yourself a little bit?
A little bit about myself. Okay, my name is Nancy Konjo. I just a little background, studied music and theology, so faith and music are like super important to me.
Hi.
Let's see. Also working on my own podcast as well. Once that drops, I'll turn that over to you guys. So
Hi.
just slight backdrop about me.
We're looking forward to that podcast. Let us know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing more about this theology.
Listen, let me tell y'all about Nancy right here. How cool she is, man. Me and the brother Fam Dizzle, we did another podcast, Stuck in the Middle podcast, Couch Talk with her, and the topic was a very contentious topic of feminism. You know what I mean? The divide between Black men and Black women. And she approached me and Femi with just like friendliness and she was, even though it was such a heated topic, the way she approached us, I was like, I like this. I really like this.
Yeah, I think we came out of that pod, and I'm like, you know what? I respect Nancy.
Like
I feel the vibe.
Big time, man.
We were able to come to an understanding, which is what this world is about. And
I felt like we're building bridges. You know what I mean? After talking with Nancy, I was about to make a change in the community. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Y'all gas is joint like a mug.
Oh God.
See, we can't even.
What you say?
Move forward without someone trying to take us back.
Nancy, be careful of this Hamid guy. I'm telling you now. Avoid him at all costs.
Hey, I'm spicy today. I'm spicy, sriracha.
Keep in mind.
I avoid him. He's dangerous.
I am actually hoping you guys go at it. Nancy, please don't hold back.
Oh no, never.
Okay, so before we get into things today, I just want to let the people of the podcast world know that there was a little bit of a Twitter thing between King Mitty and myself that made it to Instagram, and I forgot the context of why or how we got to where we got to. In terms of the
because it's a social media thing where you put a picture and you put like the villain that was depicted in, let's say, a show or whatever,
yeah.
And then you put another picture that said who the real actual villain was.
Yes.
So I think Hamid put a picture that says the villain of the podcast is Mitty.
Yes.
But the actual real villain of the podcast is Quavo.
Is me. So
yeah.
Diane started it though. Didn't she with her first tweet?
I believe it started because I'm trying to remember why it started actually, because I think she was listening to Nightmare on 2020 Street.
And what did she say?
And she was like, King Mitty did something.
We're not about to start this again. We're not about to start this again.
We're not going into this discussion. We're not going into discussion. All I'm saying is that ultimately Mitty started the comparison between he and I of who was the villain. Femi agreed I was the villain. I think y'all were just shocked that he and Femi weren't on the list or being compared. But according to Instagram,
yeah,
67% said it was false that I was the actual villain. So I just want to thank all the listeners and the supporters of the podcast who knows that I'm no villain. I'm just here trying to hold the podcast afloat. So I just want to thank y'all. Thank you, D. I appreciate you, Shorty, for real. You know what I'm saying? Right here. You know what I'm saying?
Diane, you voted against me. You voted against me, though.
Let me tell you, everybody has a role. Mitty, be proud, embrace it. Everyone has a role.
No, because I am the face of villainy. That's fine, but we all know who the real villain is.
Batman.
Do you want to tell them why you thought I was the villain, Femi?
Oh, I only put that up because me and you were the only ones awake at the time.
That's true, but I'm saying Femi agree with you though.
Yeah, I agreed with King Mitty
because I get the hate, and it's like unnecessary hate.
I think out of all of us, Kwaku probably will get the most love in terms of, oh my gosh, Quake is so nice.
He's
like
the meanest one. He's meaner than all of us added together.
Exactly. That's all I know.
I'm not gonna lie and be like I'm not the meanest one, but it's not gonna be like I'm gonna be the meanest one up front. That's not me.
That's why you the villain. But to people though, Quake was like, oh my gosh, no. So
he's the nicest guy on the podcast.
I am a gentleman.
And I'm like, yeah, up front, you get
I'm
the real
Hamed.
That's fine. I'm a gentleman too.
We all gentlemen.
Yeah. We some stand-up niggas.
It boils down to, do you prefer, I like that. But do you prefer somebody that starts off mean and then they dial it back to nice, or they start off nice and they dial it up?
But the way it's being seen is that like I'm hiding my meanness. No, I tell you up front. I let you know up top that it can get nasty if I pull away.
Medallion. Nice.
But I'm a savage.
Hey.
For the most part, I would say 85% of the time, I'm not on that type of time. I'm not on that type of time.
You are not on demon time.
No, that's not me.
Hey, we on entanglement time today.
Yeah, that's what we on. That's the type of time we're on today. So let's get into it, shall we?
Let's tangle up.
Let's start off with something slight. Because it's something that I thought of and I shared with our digital marketer. So everybody on the pod today, if you were to put a song on an Entanglement playlist, what song would you use?
Woo!
And with your response and the people of the podcast world response, whether you do it on email us, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I spoke to Nadia. She's gonna do the Entanglement playlist, and we're gonna put that out as soon as possible. So,
I volunteer. Same Girl by Usher.
Even though is
R.
R. Kelly on that track?
Huh?
Is R. Kelly on that track? Or am I tripping?
I think he was on the remix, but we talking about the regular.
Okay.
Right? Or I hope
I'm about to check right now, actually.
If you on a song, I'm gonna pick another one.
Yeah, R. Kelly's on the song.
Dang.
Oh my God!
Of course he is on there. It's no dirty ass.
That's the type of jam. Nasty mug.
All right, so I'm somebody else go. I'm gonna think of another one.
I want to say a song by like
Michael Jennings.
Titles. I suck at titles, but I want to say a song by like Yellow Boss or Gucci.
What song?
You remember the title?
No.
Or maybe hit him up, Tupac. You claim to be a player, but your wife. Gee, give money.
Shoot. At first, I was thinking of man, what's this guy's name? It was an African song too. I can't remember it now. Nah. But honestly, if I'm thinking Entanglement, the whole playlist has to be a bunch of songs by Brent Faiyaz. Like, that dude, I think it's like that self-arrogant, like self-considerate arrogance that he has. I think at least it fits what I feel like my entanglement would be like.
Okay, we're gonna get back to your entanglement in a bit.
What does your entanglement look like?
No. Hey, my friend, playlist first, then his entanglement.
I'll go through a couple of the songs. Gang Over Love.
Okay.
Trust. Been Away. Poison. Insecure. Invite Me. Those are a couple of the songs. I think
that's the whole damn album.
That's like two hours. That's two of his albums though. I went through two of his albums.
Okay.
Nice to see how you feeling.
And he from Columbia, Maryland, so or Baltimore, whichever one.
Maryland, I heard. The one that I heard recently that I thought went perfectly was Usher's "You Make Me Wanna." If you want to leave the one.
How you make me wanna leave the one I'm with and start a new relationship with you. Nancy, this is what you do.
Oh, how could I ever forget? Fabulous. I really want to be with you, but I gotta be real with you.
I said on Twitter, and everybody, that was the most popular one.
Your body down in the DM.
Go. You the one I want.
What'd you say, Diane?
Down in the DM, your body.
You said down in the DM, yo got it.
It go down in the DM.
No, I didn't go down in the DM with them.
Oh, you made that song. I wish I never met her. Yo.
Oh, Carl Thomas.
Yeah.
Carl Thomas, yeah.
That's definitely got to be on the list.
She still belongs to someone else.
Facts.
I wish I never met her.
That's
that
jam,
wasn't the best.
That's the jam.
Yeah, that's when she fuck you over, fuck your account up, cut your Jordans up, slash your tires. Damn.
Hurt you.
The world is hurting, man.
I would say my song would be it would be that Trey Songz song. I'm trying to think of the name right now.
I can't help but wait.
Yes, there we go. Can't help but wait.
That nigga was waiting. I'm like, damn, nigga.
Yeah.
On,
nah, shoot. Bob Marley joint, Waiting in Vain. That, like, yo, how long? I don't wanna wait in vain for your love.
Yeah, that's good.
That nigga was waiting. God damn.
That nigga August still waiting. Damn, bro. Will Smith was waiting for his wife to come back. Damn. God damn.
I think they will continue to wait.
Okay. Anybody else got a song they want to add before we get into the entanglements of entangles?
Baby girl, you know my situation.
Throw some August on there.
I know what it looked.
I mean, you can pull it up anytime. You can pull it up anytime during the pod if you remember.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, listen, people in the podcast world, drop your songs, all of that. We're going to compile it in a playlist and put it out as soon as possible, right? So let's discuss entanglements, guys. Mitty, what is your type of entanglement since you brought it up first?
I mean, I feel like entanglement is pretty much a situationship, honestly. Like, it's that unknown of what the status is. Like, we doing something, we just don't know what it is, or we don't have a title for it. It's not the common norm.
See,
so that's my definition.
August said he experienced real love. He could die tomorrow, bro.
Hey, unrequited love is part of an entanglement. It's one-sided, bro.
He was choked up talking about it, bro. That ain't no situationship.
Speak on it, bro.
But y'all, how many situationships have you been in where the young lady was like, "Y'all, I want to be more than that," and you like, "Nah."
Exactly.
Well, we found out that they were not in an entanglement. They were in a relationship. Because her own husband said, no, relationship. Then she said, yes, relationship.
I didn't watch, for caution, I didn't watch the full clip of the whole thing. I only saw whatever clips came on Twitter. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Come on. It's 12 minutes, man.
You couldn't entangle yourself for 12 minutes?
No.
You couldn't just simply entangle yourself for just 12.
Come on, man.
You can't commit to 12 minutes. How can you commit in real life?
How can you commit to a woman in real life and you can't commit 12 minutes of your time?
I can't do this today, bro. I can't. I'm out.
That was so simple. But I want to also add that before the whole entanglement comment came to be about, he did also say that they were separated. He was contemplating, not only contemplating, he had already made up his mind that he was leaving her, that he no longer wanted to be with her. So that is a big part that a lot of people aren't paying attention to.
before even. I want to make sure that we add that context in the scenario too.
It's given.
I don't believe it.
I'm going to piggyback off of what D just said. So the way I see the way Jada described entanglement, right? I see it as she got into a situation that she kind of wasn't ready for and didn't expect what would happen, as compared to a situationship where it was like, well, in her entanglement, it led to a relationship, you know. But in most situationships, it's almost like there's a gray area that neither party is really trying to step over the boundary, and they're just trying to play it as safe and cool as possible, but they don't know if they're doing too much or not doing enough at all. You know, that gray area kind of sucks. Personally, for me, I hate the gray area. Like, I don't really like that type of stuff. So.
Gray is my favorite color.
You gotta embrace the gray, right?
You know, life is, I think I tell y'all fellas in the chat all the time, life is not black and white. I tell y'all that all the time.
There's a lot of gray involved, yeah. Nah, I feel you.
I even tell my clients, life is not white and black or all or nothing. Diane, speak on it. That is called a cognitive distortion.
When I heard entanglement, I thought of having feelings for two people and not just being confused on exactly where you stand. That sounds like entanglement.
So Jada was confused. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think she was confused. I think she honestly had.
Jada's entangled with a lot of people now.
Two people, and one of those people were someone that she felt like did not want to be with her anymore. So she was still dealing with that emotionally, and she found herself falling for another gentleman who she developed feelings for.
So how do you explain Tupac, Diane?
What about Tupac?
Well, maybe according to Jada, they were just friends.
Oh, come on!
I'm just saying what Jada says. I don't know.
Oh! What in the hurt you in an entanglement?
History with anyone else but you.
So that's her soulmate, bro.
Huh?
It may have been, but he's not here.
My goodness, grief counseling.
Nah, I think that's probably one of the hardest things to deal with, though. Like, if you think about that, like falling for somebody and then losing them.
Yeah. You don't really get like you don't get closure with that. But I don't think they were ever in a serious relationship. I think that they were just close friends, and for whatever reason, they couldn't be together. So,
yeah, because Pac was too much Pac.
Because I get around. Hey, around and around, around we go.
Nancy, you are quiet.
I'm listening. I listen first.
Nah, but it's crazy though that we keep wanting to say like, she was falling. No, she was in a relationship with August Alsina. Can we admit that? Because that's what Will said, and then she admitted it. Okay, so they were in a relationship. Like, she didn't want to, like. I mean, are we still on the entanglement, or can I give my spiel on how I think Jada is a foul woman for what she did to the brother?
Go ahead. Take it.
You are going to wake up Nancy Konjo. She will come for you.
Because here's the thing, and you know what I'm saying? And maybe this is just me. This is my background. This is how my worldview and how I view the world. Y'all know I'm a therapist. So on that red table, Jada came out and said, August came into our lives like 4.5 years ago. He was really sick. He was looking for healing. He was dealing with this, and for y'all that know August Alsina's story, the brother he had a tumultuous relationship with his mother. You know what I'm saying? He was on
His
drugs.
brother died.
His sister passed away.
Yeah, he's taking care of his brother's kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's like the sole in terms of immediate family. I think he's like the sole kind of like guardian and breadwinner for the most part.
That's rough, man.
You know what I'm saying? He had the seizures. I mean, this brother really went through it at a young age. Right now, I think he's only 27. So just think back to like, you know what I'm saying? That's like fresh out of college and you dealing with all this and fame.
Yep.
That's a lot. So here comes this woman that, you know, in the Black culture, we look at the Smiths as, oh my gosh, Black royalty, right? She's stable, they rich, they you know, they think outside the box, right? And then, okay, I can trust this person, you know. She put her Baduism box on him. You know what I'm saying? You go from, she said he came to me for healing. She said that out her mouth. So how I come to you for healing, and next thing we know, we in a relationship. You talking about entanglement. What you did was you manipulated your role, because I'm coming to you for healing, and you know I'm broken. You know what I'm saying? You know I'm going through all this trauma and this life stuff. And then you come in, now we entangled? How? You older than me.
But I'm gonna shoot Jada some bail, cause that's just August. That's his fault, man. You can't, if it's just like, if a dude tells you what it is straight up and you fall for it, that's on you.
Happens to us every.
And so what's the narrative after? Niggas ain't ish, men are dogs.
Yeah. And here's the part where it's Jada's fault, because she should have known better to just been like, all right, he's doing a little bit too much. Let me fall back. And that's what it seemed like she did. I think
it's also important to realize that we because I've heard that side a lot lately these past 2 days.
I've been on that for as soon as August came out.
Okay. But my thing is, Jada clearly also said that she was in a broken place too. We're focusing on August, but we're not paying attention to the fact that even when the red table first began, Jada was always saying that she was coming from a place that was very dark for her, that she, you know, wasn't proud of, she wasn't happy. She's always spoke up about that. And when she was with August, when she was dealing, they probably were two broken people finding their way to each other. And this is what irritates me about that, is because a lot of times when these situations occur, I think also men and women, they come to the defense of the man.
No.
Primarily. And it's like, you know, especially with everything going on right now, I think that, you know, these two people are adults. It's not like August Alsina is a young minor who was taken advantage of. He was old enough to make a decision. Now, was that the best decision? Because I know for myself, if I'm going to go ahead and deal with somebody who's having a situation with the marriage or whatever, I want to see, if I'm going to get strong feelings and develop these, I want to see divorce papers. Separation is not enough for me. So, and that is because as an adult, you have to understand, if you think that they may get back together, they're separated, they may get back together.
Please, go ahead, y'all, because I have a lot.
Diane, you know I like you. I like you a lot. You're a good person. But I would say that the concept of Jada being broken too, August being an adult as well, I feel like if you were to flip the age and the genders, we would be really harping on the vulnerability of the younger person, the broken person.
There will be some who would, and then there will be a lot of people who would be like, oh, what is her problem? Why would she announce something like that? That she sees that they're making it work in their marriage, and here she go. Don't deny the fact that if had it August been a woman and Jada been the man in the situation, there would be a whole lot of people looking at that woman like a homewrecker. How could she just say, why is she bringing this up now? She's just looking for clout, Because unlike men, Black women especially been in that light for years, dealing with having to confront those challenges and known having to figure out how to pick up the pieces. So I get what you're saying. Yeah. Do I think it's not about whether I feel like what they did was right or wrong. I don't have no hell or having to put these people in. But do I think that some people made poor choices? Yes, they're human beings. But I don't think that one Jada is more responsible than August or vice versa.
Yo, I feel like if I'm broken and I'm in this position of power, then I don't need to be saying I'm trying to heal you. One person in the dynamic is coming willingly broken, looking for healing, while the other person, we're going to say, okay, she's broken, but she wants to heal. Nah, bruh. If you're broken, you need to go to somebody else to be healed as well. Don't try to be the healer.
So the thing with Jada is, if you broken, why not get fixed with your husband?
Nah, she could get fixed individually.
According to the Red Table Talk, they weren't separated. Will couldn't stand it. He didn't want to be around it.
He already had made it clear that he was done with the marriage.
So
I didn't know that part. I guess I should watch the whole thing.
I have a question for everyone though, because sometimes I'm a little out of the loop, like what Mitty's saying. I do try and watch stuff like this, but I don't keep up with.
Me too. I don't keep up either. I only kept up
the media culture. Yeah. Exactly. The most that I do is for podcast purposes. I am in my own well. Has it been publicly shared before this table talk and stuff that they were separated, they were not dealing with each other? Because as I go back in my own mental banks of history and memory, I see them always acting like in a happy relationship, they were together, etc. So I just want to know, and I know it's private, it's personal, whatever, but still, I mean, they're both public figures. So as I track back, Will is always on YouTube, on Instagram, whatever. He's always been showing her, whatever, etc. The family, the children, or whatever. So I feel like I've never seen them looking broken and apart. And I wonder, has that ever been public before? This is an honest question. I'm not even trying to.
I actually don't know.
Relationship has definitely been public information. Like that wasn't anything that was new for anybody who kept up with them. Will has also, even though he was a lot more low key with his side piece or his situation or entanglement than Jada was.
Thank you.
They both in open relationships. It's just that Jada's side piece or entanglement happened to talk a little bit more than Will's. So it's definitely, their relationship wasn't perfect at all.
And mind you, this situation, just to give y'all got more context, this situation occurred 4 years ago. So her relationship with August was 4 years ago. Now he decided that this was his time, that he wanted to vindicate himself, because I understand partially why August felt the need to do that, because he felt like people were blaming him for certain things. If that's genuine or not, I don't know.
But he's the one who brought it to light. We didn't know about this if it wasn't for him.
Yeah. He said if he dies tomorrow, he good. People dying every day. We in the pandemic. You feel me? So maybe he thought it was the right time to be like, look, in case I die tomorrow, I experience true love. You feel me?
So here's my indifference, right?
Oh my God.
So apparently, according to the Red Table Talk,
Craig, I have to say, you ought to mean this much. You started your statement off with indifference. These people acting. We are all invested. Craig was like, here's my indifference. I can't do this episode. I am gone.
Hey, walk off.
Go find that. Okay, so my indifference, yes, is that the Smiths both admitted that they didn't put out a statement. Right? But the statement that did come out said that Jada denies this, right? Now I don't know. I didn't watch the August Alsina interview in full, and I have seen them in pictures around and didn't think anything of it. Now my biggest issue is back to what Femi said, right? I don't know personally of two broken people fixing each other and being successful. So for her to be hurting and him to be hurting physically and emotionally, and for her to say, I wanted to heal him, you know, it almost reads kind of selfish, if I'm being totally honest, because it's almost like you're still not even in the position to like, okay, yeah, you're in a relationship, like, do you want to, what if you do want to go back to the, you're gonna crush everything that you just rebuilt, because you're giving them an out, you're giving them some sort of hope, some sort of belief that there's somebody out there who really wants to, who really, you know, really wants to care for me. It's something that I haven't experienced before, and on top of that, you're elderly. You know, so you know, you probably giving them a little bit of mama's love too. You know what I'm saying? Something that he probably wanted from his mother. This is all assumption, not facts. So, you know, just to round off what I'm about to say, I do kind of agree with Femi, and maybe because I'm like, yeah, I don't really follow all of the social media too much, but I'm not gonna lie, it does seem like anything that comes out about their relationship comes from Jada's side, not from her. So it's almost like, okay, Jada, I mean, you older, shorty. Let's learn how to move a little bit. Let's learn how to shape shift. You know what I'm saying? Let's learn to not have everybody in our.
I guess my thing, like when I watched it, she began the conversation admitting that she was being, you know, that was a issue that she had, that she kind of was codependent, this codependency or this feeling of wanting to save other people, whatever. And, you know, even watching her Red Table Talk, I've noticed, you know, that is a fair critique, like, you know, wanting to save other people and not even all the way already being all at one with yourself. You know, you want to be able to be healthy yourself before you go ahead and try to save other people. But at what are we allowing to, like, at the end of the day, these people are human beings. And the truth of the matter is that, yes, they can make these poor decisions and they've made these mistakes. But if she comes out and says, yes, this was a problem of mine, this was an issue, are we going to allow her to, you know, have that? Like, we can understand, like, maybe she still needed to grow. She probably still needs to grow.
Nope. We gotta crucify her just like we crucify men.
No. We're gonna allow her that. However,
No.
I'm gonna speak for myself, but we can still hold her accountable, and I think that's where I'm not understanding why. Well, because no, you just said it. If I'm running a group for drug addicts and I'm still using drugs, I'm not fitting to run that group. Mm-hmm. You come in on this damn table, Wale, oh, this is with you. Oh, Snoop Dogg, you call Gail a bitch. Yeah. This. Everybody, you hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Yet, what you doing behind closed doors that poor August couldn't talk about for years. And he finally came out. And now people are like, oh, August, you snitch. August, you this.
No, I think we should hold them accountable. I'm saying she is holding herself accountable.
How? She ain't even say it was a relationship. She said entanglement.
No, I'm saying in the beginning, when she started the conversation, she acknowledged that she had this level of, you know, wanting to be codependent and wanting to heal others and not being all the way full herself. So she came in the conversation, she opened the conversation with that. This was where she was at 4 years ago. So if she's saying that she acknowledged this, just like you brought up the example of, you know, drug facilities, or if you're getting drug counseling, a lot of those counselors were addicts before.
In the past.
They are
not currently.
She's saying that she's not. She said that was her in the past, not currently. So,
but she was healing August. She was healing August while she wasn't.
Exactly. She learned that situation. That was a toxic situation that she put herself in, and she acknowledged that was not the right decision.
So now,
can I ask something?
Go ahead, Mitty.
Do y'all think Will Smith not packing?
I mean,
He's not.
Bro, why?
Nah, listen, I just think it's about
Nancy,
it's
what you
about
said?
preference, man. Like Jada's she a free spirit type. Like, you know, she like.
We not talking
Nancy,
about,
you say no?
we've been talking about Jada this whole time, but we have not brought up Will in his past because he's been on the blocks before too, and there was not an outcry.
I don't think Will packing.
Outcry.
He's not.
Let's hear Nancy. Nancy, go ahead.
He's not. Honestly, okay, so let me just preface by saying that I do think what Jada did was wrong, right? She came in, she was supposed to be his mentor. She was supposed to act as someone who was supposed to walk him through his journey of healing.
Actually,
right?
stop that.
Let's just acknowledge that she didn't. The one thing I did not appreciate about the Red Table Talk is that she didn't take full accountability. She was still like kind of beating around the bush, and especially for someone who has this platform built on transparency, that's just kind of what disappointed me. But at the same time, I don't like the fact that the weight of the problem, the weight of the relationship, the burden of the mistake of that relationship is being put on Jada, and not on August as well, because he was an adult. August 20. I mean, yes, he was
a young adult. Young.
No, he was a young adult. Yes, nonetheless, a well-functioning adult who could have made a decision for himself. He knew,
trauma.
Trauma doesn't exempt you from,
We can't keep hiding behind trauma for everything, though.
Wow.
No.
Please, let everybody talk. Yeah,
honestly, again, at the same time, it doesn't exempt you from accountability, right? And that also falls on the part of Jada. I'm not exempting her from accountability. I'm saying both parties were wrong in this situation. Yes, Austin has trauma, but so does Jada. They both got trauma, okay? And they were both two toxic people who just happened to meet each other at the right time. And I honestly think that kind of going back to, I'm trying to remember.
Will not pack.
Yeah, I honestly, I think her, she needed a little like scratched, and Austin was able to satisfy her in a way that Will probably couldn't, and that's why she kept going back for 3 years.
They say that man.
The girth.
They say that man be puncturing services.
Yeah.
You guys think that that's all that would like people want?
Diane, did you hear the way she described this shit? She was like, it was this deep hole that needed to be filled.
Talking about their relationship, not the physical act.
Nah, the way Will said.
No, I think the emotion.
Who says girth? Who uses girth as a way to describe something wide?
Bill said
outside
that,
of penises.
Yo,
yeah, because he knew how wide what you call it.
Wow. Joe Budden podcast named their podcast girth.
Wow.
I saw that.
Okay, guys.
Nancy, go ahead.
Nah, but I honestly think that honestly, I just see Jada more so. Yes, she made a mistake, but she was, she's a cougar. She just wanted a little itch scratched, and Austin was able to do that at that time. She was also in a vulnerable place, so she made herself, susceptible to a situation that she should not have been in. But at the end of the day, she was a cougar. She was a little fine and giving her the attention that she wasn't getting from Will, or the sexual satisfaction that she wasn't able to get from Will.
That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying both people are responsible. I'm not saying that it's cool. And you have two women on this podcast who are able to say that. And this is only a reflection of really what goes on. It's the fact that a lot of times men, whatever, kings, you guys.
I was gonna say, don't define us by our gender.
You guys are so quick to defend our men in situations, but not willing to understand that and acknowledge that women can be human beings. Women also are human beings too.
I've been going back and forth with so many women, especially black women, on B. Simone as well as Tiffany Haddish. You know how many black women have fried Tiffany Haddish to me recently because she cut her hair? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I've been going back and forth. So I have.
What does that have to do with what's going on?
I'm painting you an example and talking about we only defend men. I'm like, no.
I'm saying
But
in these type of situations.
Realize
it don't matter what situation it is.
I can't hear Sister Nancy.
Women also so women also suffer from misogyny. So like it's not just men who reinforce certain situations. Like we are also
toxic femininity.
Right. No,
that's different, bro.
Yeah, that forces us to even hate ourselves and not stand together as women, right? Because
women reinforce that patriotic.
Yeah, we uphold patriarchy and misogyny as well because we want to serve as pick-me's. You know, we've been conditioned to.
What's wrong with a pick-me?
Hey, shout out to the pick-me's out there. I'm just gonna throw it.
I'm trying to choose you all.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all made quarantine lovely. You feel me?
See me, Moonman, chai. Evidence.
You just won the prize for the villain of the podcast. Congrats.
See,
Yao.
Nah, on some real, and again, real talk. I think I've turned the corner. Moonman, you can be my witness. Like we've had conversations, and I'm like, yo, bruh, we don't do that to women. Have I not? On some real talk.
Real talk.
Exactly. And this is with no women involved, and it's just all men.
And we appreciate you for that. We appreciate that.
And I don't even need kudos, but I'm just trying to, because which is why I just say I don't need kudos and I don't even want it. But I'm just trying to say, yo, is there a way we can have a conversation where if I back a man, it's not going to be because I'm a man. It's just going to be because, I think this woman in this instance,
exactly,
not all women, but this woman is wrong.
Because I can acknowledge what Diane said, and I actually think it's true. If I even go back through my own memory, I look at situations, it's probably true. Not saying I do it.
But Femi and Yao, I think the thing is that as men,
I was not even halfway through my statement, and you just moved it.
Continue.
But all right, I'm almost done. It's shut. You can have it next. But what I'm saying is that, like, I agree with that. Guys do that, but that doesn't exclude that situation. You see that Jada is looking very much like a predator. You know what I mean? Like, period.
That's a very strong word.
It is. It's a strong word, but my thing is that, like, forget about entertainment. I'm talking about real life. If I meet somebody that's twice the age and he's a guy or whatever of a woman who's that much younger than him and is going through whatever problems, and he tells me, I'm gonna be like, bruh, there's something wrong with you, bro. Like you cannot do that. It doesn't look good. Exclude entertainment.
That's not fair.
I understand what y'all are saying.
That's not fair.
It's very fair. Yo, Moonman.
It's super fair, bro.
Moonman, yo. Because when we talk about Anna Nicole Smith, right? She was looked at as the predator, not the old man.
Thank you.
Bro, we'll discuss Anglo-Saxon matters
Thank you.
That's
a whole...
I'm not combating
measuring predators. Then honestly, some of our fathers are predators. Because in culture, if we're talking culture,
that's how I culture.
Okay, but that's the thing, though.
But they're illegal.
If they're both adults, if they're both consenting adults, what makes Jada a predator?
Nancy, here's my thing, though. The thing about African parents, all that, that's a different economic, social, cultural environment. It is. It's a situation where
I see where y'all was going.
That's a completely different hierarchy of needs, trade-offs, whatever.
No.
I'm talking about the society that we exist in now.
No matter what.
Mental health conscious.
Everybody, let's let everybody talk small. Why?
No,
Diane, go.
Diane, you got the floor.
Yeah, go ahead, finish.
Oh, you want done, y'all? My bad.
No, I'm just saying that you have to acknowledge that. Like, you can say no matter the society or whatever, but if you're talking about a situation where everybody's economically repressed, resources are limited, whatever traditions are being handed down, you have to respect. You have to look at that a certain way. Not to say that we should continue these ways or whatever, but that's very different than, you know what I mean, someone who's economically well off but psychologically broken.
But that's,
you know what I mean?
August was touring the world as a musician, right? Yes, he may not have had as much money as Jada, But in the day, they were both two consenting adults making money, right? And not only that, he was an adult. He was already having sex. Like this, Austin was getting. Okay?
So, yes, I agree with that. But I've not seen this level of touring the world, having sex, getting ladies. Talking about I can die tomorrow. You understand what I'm saying? Like that. Like we can't just.
I think
that's not a heavy state. It's a heavy.
That box probably.
I think there's some accountability on August's side.
Of course,
there's some accountability on August's side.
I'm not denying that.
We're not releasing any accountability from any of them.
It's a pie chart. It's a blame pie.
So
it's a percent split, bro.
Yeah, it's a blame pie.
When I'm talking about my views, and I'm talking about the issues that Black women deal with in this society that we live in, I'm not talking about individual perspectives. I'm not talking about Femi's individual perspective. I'm not talking about Y'all's individual perspective or Hamid's or Quake's. I'm talking about the majority, societal pressures and stereotypes and, just inflicted.
We agree.
That's what I'm talking about. So if you could agree with what I'm saying is.
I agree.
So.
But Diane, no one's ever going to disagree with you on that because Black women are queens and y'all deserve to be treated as such.
Absolutely.
But what we are arguing about is a specific issue between the Smiths.
Yeah.
This specific issue, I see that because women are in entanglements all the time. They're always looked at as hoes, smuts, thoughts. We know their kind, this, that, and the other. And
I agree.
How that is looked upon by our people. You get what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
And that's wrong.
But that doesn't exonerate Jada.
No, I've already said I'm not releasing any accountability from Jada. What I'm saying is Jada and August are accountable. That I'm holding both of them accountable.
But who gets more of the blame?
Nobody.
Somebody has to.
I wasn't with them.
Oh, you wasn't with us shooting in the. Nah.
Let's humanize. I feel like what needs to happen is that we need to humanize Jada just a little bit, right? Especially on the men's part. Like there are many times, men and women, where we get into relationships because we do have codependency issues, right? Like we do like to be in situations where we like to play savior, right? We like to play fix me, right? We like to play therapist. Like we really need to humanize her situation because it's not rare. It's really not rare. And even if you don't go into relationship with the thought of, let me play mentor to this person, you find yourself wrapped up, feelings are involved, and you find that they may be dealing with this traumatic situation. It's like, all right, let me see what I can do, to be there, even though I'm dealing with my shit, right? Let me see what I can do to help them through this process of healing while I'm healing myself.
Why do women always want to fix shit though?
Huh?
No, that's not true. There's dudes out here that want to fix too.
Go into a relationship wanting to be fixed by women.
Why do y'all want to? Why can't everything just be broken and let it be broken?
That's what you call a reframe. She reframed that for you,
and that's real. That's real talk. And that's probably even more prevalent.
Relationships with women and expect the woman to be their fixers, and that is the truth. So sometimes men knowingly get into situations, with women. Wanting to be the mom, the sister, the brother, the best friend, the cook, the therapist.
Not this man.
It still don't exonerate Jada, but y'all right though. But it doesn't exonerate Jada.
All day, you can say that. You can say that the whole podcast, and I'm never gonna move away from the point that is very true.
That's what still doesn't exonerate Jada.
So, how many men have y'all tried to fix before?
Not intentionally.
Oh. Relationships I don't want to make it seem like I'm down in anybody because
do your thing. Speak your truth.
Each other. Talk. I found myself, specifically in my last relationship, being the one that felt like I had to, help build this person up. To kind of be able to stand with me, to be able to be the guy that I need. And I realized that as long as he is not there himself. If he does not want it for himself, I cannot give it to him. So there's nothing I could do. There's no one I could be to make him feel like, you know, genuinely this is something that he wants for himself. He would have to, that would be something that he would have to, you know, need. But then I've now that I'm older and I've had some time alone and I've, you know, been dating and stuff like that, I'm now aware of that, you know, with guys. If, you know, if you are going through an emotional state, if you're not well, go seek a therapist, go do the self-work like we often are told to do before you get in a relationship and expect, you know, the other person to build you, you know, to fix you or whatever.
So is it weird for me because as me knowing that women love a fixing project or love to, you know, I build that nigga up. I hate that shit, man.
But I don't love it.
No, and it's not just women. I feel like there's also that.
Diane, I'm talking about you. Go ahead, Sister Nancy.
No, but I'm saying some women don't love it. Some women don't love it.
Sister Nancy has the floor, Diane.
Oh my God.
Hey, bro.
Yield your time. Yield your time.
You can't play. No. Listen. Our platform is Diane's platform, no matter what.
Okay, I'm used to his. I'm used to his.
Diane knows.
Diane gonna cuss somebody out. Once we on
say on the heels.
She's not about that life.
But on the heels of your statement, Diane, I just want to say you deserve the best. All right. You deserve the absolute best. I just want to throw that out.
So do you, Nancy. We're not gonna leave you out.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, Nancy. You in a relationship?
I'm still trying to hear what she's going to say.
Yeah, do your thing, Nancy.
It's not just. There are women who definitely do. Who
I see you, Quay.
Thank you, bro.
Have codependency issues and do like, you know.
We're gonna circle back to that.
And they do like projects. But most women, I honestly feel like they just find themselves in those situations. I feel like initially they may meet someone who may put on this facade and present themselves to be one way. And then you get in the situation, it's like, oh, shoot, no, that's just another project. You know what I mean? Like,
that's fair.
And that's not just a rhetoric for women. There are men who also like women, you know, damsels in distress. Like they like to play Prince Charming coming in on a horse to save, you know, this woman. It's that same power structure. It's that same power dynamic happening on the opposite. So it's not just women. We all need
this guy.
We honestly need to humanize Jada's situation because we all do. We've either been on the receiving end or been the person who, you know, wants to play fixer upper, wants to play savior, wants to play Prince Charming. And I don't fault her for that. She was human, and so was August.
But Nancy,
very vulnerable place.
Nancy, Diane, there's a reason we call them cougars. It's a dangerous animal.
Oh
you
my
understand
God.
what I'm saying? So my point is that, like, I agree completely with what y'all are saying. You know, your points are resonating. You are very well spoken lady. But what I'm saying is that, like, I know that there are young men out here that get used by cougars for their loins. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and
that's,
you
get used up, you get balled up, you get rolled around a little bit, and then you get discarded. You feel me?
You get chewed up and spit out.
It's life. It's life.
It's life, but if you are, like, I use the term predator and it's strong, but my thing is that I refuse to accept you saying that this, you feel comfortable saying, oh, this person came to me for a deep healing. Like you contributed this great positivity to him when you probably just used them for his loins and discarded them. You know what I'm saying? For me, that's a cougar is a predator. It's a predatory animal. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to take away from what August, he played a part, he's an adult. But you can't walk out with the perception that you were contributing this positive thing or whatever. You see Will Smith's eyes?
Predator.
His eyes were even turned yellow.
We keep throwing up this word adult, man. I mean, I guess once you turn 18, you so-called an adult. But I know if we see a, huh?
I said he was older than 21. We're not even talking 18.
He was like 22. But okay, that's like a year out of college. When I was a year out
of college. Femi, there's gotta be, you gotta ask, at 22, you gotta have some sense about you.
You gotta have some sense, but you're still your identity. You're still figuring yourself. Come on, bro. Y'all can't tell me.
I get
exactly. So if we can say that, because bro, I've seen like 40-year-old youngers be like, yeah, when they was 18, we like, man, that guy was a predator. You preying on an 18, but he's like, hey, she's legal. She's an adult. What am I doing wrong? By y'all argument, but it can still be predatorial. You know what I'm saying? Again, y'all bring up some great points in terms of we have to humanize Madam Pinkett. Madam Set It Off. Which is cool. I
never seen that movie.
Oh, you crazy?
The reason why I think the word predator, I don't take that word lightly.
I don't either.
I do not play with that word. I take that word very seriously. So if I'm going to use it, I'm going to be very intentional about it. Because yes, not only don't predators prey, but it's usually with the intention to exploit. And I don't think Jada was trying to exploit Austin in any way, right? So that's why I don't take that word light.
She might, but here's the thing, because in our society, and men do this all the time. In our society, going for somebody for sex is normalized. It's not seen as a wrong behavior. So if she, quote unquote,
when a man does it, it's seen as predatory, and he's exploiting.
Not even all the time, because men do it a lot, right? So, and that's been normalized. Like, you can see a chick, and already you like, man, you already planning how you can envision it. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So now you get to know this girl, and she might, be talking some emotional stuff, and you playing with it, knowing damn well from jump, this is what you wanted, right? In that sense, that is predatory. However, she consented to the sex, right? So you can always be like, hey, it's two consenting adults. But, she might have went into it with different motives, while you went into it strictly to, you get what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
So I think that I understand what you're saying. I think that, again, she made a poor decision. She should not have dealt with August while he was at a low point, and knowingly, she knew she was at a low point. Mm-hmm. But let's be careful in labeling it predatory behavior, because I cannot put Jada in the same vein as R. Kelly, because and then I would like to add that when R. Kelly was going through his situation, when the whole I forgot what it was called, the
Surviving.
R. Kelly came out, you had a lot of people, men and women, coming out talking about these girls knew what they were doing. They were 18. They were this old. They were adultifying these girls.
That's what y'all doing now.
Yeah.
Guys.
August is an adult. That's a grown-ass man.
Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I have to pause this because I have to go get my charger for my laptop.
Oh my God.
So we're going to pause.
We are in the midst of
Wait. Before we leave,
no, my friend is about to die. No, my friend is about to die. Shut up. We're coming back.
Are you single?
All right, guys. Welcome back. Had to go get the charger, so appreciate y'all patience on that one. Yes, so we were in the midst of discussing predatory and trying to disassociate the predatory word from Jada, because
manipulative.
R. Kelly was being predatory, and a lot of people, like Diane was rightly saying, that a lot of people were saying that the individuals involved were adults, et cetera. So, and they knew what they were doing. So I guess you guys are speaking to the cognitive aspect of separating the cognitive from the actual number of your age, because you could be an adult but still have some childish ways and tendencies, like relying on your parents for stuff, or codependent for that matter.
So that one knows no age.
Bro, just yesterday, women was telling me that men mature so slowly, but because of August today, he's a grown adult. I will let the two of you have it.
I don't think Jada was equally mature at that time either. So yes, we're just talking about in terms of position and what we identify as adulthood and consent, right?
So what makes someone an adult then?
I mean, I'm just talking about the general.
The age.
It's a notice.
Mental development, and emotional development, and cognitive ability.
Mm.
Those three things, mainly three things define, your maturity level. And I'm not saying that August is a quite full adult, that he should have known that. No, we were all young before. We've made dumb decisions. We've we've all been there. But that's not
so
beyond that, Austin doesn't have any handicap, right? Like there was
call him Austin. Yeah, I've been laughing
for the sake of argument, right? For the sake of argument.
Let her finish, bro. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, in terms of her trying to, be a predator or trying to take advantage of him in any way, like in terms of status, they were essentially, within the same, community, social community, social
network.
Jada Black Rose. But my word that I've been using from day one is manipulative. I see you. I see you frown on.
I'm just saying, someone can say for the sake of argument that Jada herself was not an adult. She wasn't mentally there. She wasn't.
That's
yeah. She better kick rocks with that.
Oh, so she can't.
But why can't she use that excuse?
Come on,
then. Be mentally unstable.
No. I have no problem. I have no problem with her being mentally unstable. But to say that she's not an adult is a full.
Okay, no, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, saying that she's not an adult is a full lie.
It goes back to.
I think for August, in my humble opinion, right? I think yes, technically by age he's an adult, right? But I think because of his emotional state at the time,
it's childhood traumas,
and a lot of the responsibilities he has to hold, and like we mentioned, a lot of the trauma that he had. I think that because it was a vulnerable situation and it was with a woman who, in a lot of ways, was vulnerable too, maybe towards him, depending on however they establish their dynamic. I think they both helped each other out silently, but the main reason why it was messy is just because it's almost like. But I think everybody was thinking like what y'all said. We didn't know that y'all was going through y'all tips, so why in the hell would you get into a relationship with August, and then why is August seeing it fit to talk about it 4 years later almost? You know what I'm saying? What happened within that stretch of 4 years that now all of a sudden he wants to, do his old vindication type thing. So I think it's very complex and convoluted. And I wouldn't, and in their situation, I would much prefer a situationship more than an entanglement.
Yeah, word. Go ahead, Diane.
I just feel like what I'm trying to get everyone to do, not just people on the podcast, just everyone, like talking about this conversation. We're empathizing with August, which is fair in some instance. But
by the way, Diane, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but August did get cooked like mercilessly.
Oh, like a mug.
Like for a while, for all of that. Before Jada tried to talk to anybody.
Guess who's getting cooked the most? Will Smith.
Yeah.
Bro, what? You look at all the memes.
They were showing him no mercy. They were showing no mercy.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's another thing. And that's the men. That's the shame that men in these situations. You know what I'm saying? Will Smith is getting roasted literally by his peers in Hollywood, not even Black Twitter.
So we know what? Why? Why do you think Will Smith is getting shamed?
And that
it's looked as a weakness on his own.
I personally think his ongoing silence and
yeah.
everything in their dynamic has kind of caused that, because he's never been vocal about any indifference with Jada. Jada's the one that's been vocal about maybe indifferences in their relationship.
That's what happens when you're a strong Black man and you try to, be patient with your queen.
See Nancy face?
And they do you wrong.
It's because, men are supposed to be, quote unquote, if a guy did the cheating, of course, that's expected, but when a guy.
The woman would be expected to stay, and the woman would be expected to work it out. And it would. they would be, if the woman decided to leave,
exactly,
you'll have a bunch of people coming on like, well, she left when it didn't get it. Why didn't she work it out with him? That's why y'all single, because y'all never want to work it out with us. And da 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 da. I've seen that so many times.
Diane.
I would say men and women sing those tunes. Yeah, it be women that go into other women like, man, she ain't, but I get it. Like I said, these men are going in on Will Smith because of what y'all attribute as, and I'm not even gonna say y'all what we now know as quote unquote toxic masculinity, right? Because it's like, a brother can't work it out with his woman when she get pile drive by a young dude. He seemed as a weak beta male, right? You know what I'm saying? A brother that does that is weak, and you gotta clown him.
This was swingers anyway, bro. This whole thing is fake, so it is what it is. Bro.
I think it's Will Smith is getting killed because he didn't have his house in check. August is getting killed because he
a snitch.
Jada's looking like, okay, she's a hoe, she's this and all of that.
I don't think anybody ever said she was a hoe.
Exactly. I haven't seen that. They just
no one ever classified Jada as a hoe. And that shows how much respect people have for her.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we haven't. I know
but there are some people saying it, but it's not a lot. It's not the majority.
Yeah.
It's not hoe, it's predator.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. But I think that we need to find another because
it's okay. I can just call it what it is.
She was not taking, she was not exploiting, like as Ms. Sister Nasi said, she did not exploit August. She did not need anything from August. She was in a vulnerable place.
She needed that purple pill.
In the best place mentally, and she made a poor decision. And August also probably did not make the best decision. He made a poor decision as well into finding his healing through another woman who was not healed herself, because they had to have the friendship. They had to have a relationship before this whole thing occurred, which is probably how they developed.
Yeah, and I think Jada did speak to that, where they were like legit friends.
And for a year and a half.
Yeah, and then things spiraled. But
y'all seen Girls Trip? That's August Alsina, Kofi Cerube.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think we spent quite the time on this. But there was a conversation. I want to change gears. There was a conversation that the fellas and I had in a group chat. Brought up by King Mitty.
Was I involved?
Yes, you were involved.
Was I involved?
Where King Mitty said that
oh Lord,
he was prepared to be a father before being a husband. And I just wanted King Mitty to elaborate on that thought, because I think honestly it's more of a trend now than what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay. What is that? What is that?
It says Swift.
Like a marijuana vape.
CBD.
Mitty, do you care to elaborate on your thought?
Yes. So now I was doing some reflecting, had my candles burning, doing some deep thinking about life, and I was like, man,
your sage.
Yeah, I was like, I really I'm more excited. Like, I look forward to fatherhood more than I actually do look forward to being a husband. And I was like, damn, is that weird? Like, I can't wait to be with my little rugrats running around, picking them up when they crying, all the little things. I'm like, damn, I can't wait for that. But when you ask me about marriage and being with a partner, it's like a headache, man.
You know why that is?
You scared of commitment. That's all, bro.
Yeah. You
less afraid of the financial and life commitment of raising a child than you are of being able to commit.
Nah, you know why that is though? Because he can look back at. Clearly. Are you a single brother?
Mm-hmm.
Cause so if you're single, you've probably, you know, maybe had entanglements, relationships, situationships,
Uh-huh.
all types of dealings with women that maybe it didn't quite work out. So you have all that stuff to pull
I'm
from.
scarred.
Exactly.
I'm like August out here.
You know, he got all these negative experiences to pull from, but however, he doesn't have a kid yet. But you got a sister that got kids, and you get to have them every now and then, and it's man, Uncle
It's
Millie,
not tainted. You saying it's
exactly.
not tainted?
It's not. You know
but
what I'm saying?
I don't think it's gonna be tainted for me either.
And I'm not gonna say it is because it's a different relationship. However, talk to parents who dealing with teenagers who were talking back, and some of them call them a B or whatever. F you, dad.
Yeah, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
You know what I'm saying?
It won't be my own child.
I pray it'll never be none of our children. But I'm just saying, like, you know, there's some people who have kids that whoop their ass or whatever, and they got their relationship with their significant other might be good. So I'm just saying you've never had kids, so of course that aspect of life you've never experienced any negativity. But with women, of course, you have negative experiences to be like, hey, are we gonna be arguing all the time?
And I'm not sure if I
don't even think it's that though.
I'm not sure if I spoke on it while I was bringing up the topic, because I was saying I think that's more of that's beginning to become a trend where, you know, people are just like, I don't feel like looking for love. I'd just much rather have the companionship with my seed per se. Ladies, I don't know.
Nah, to me it's just I feel like kids are just more fun than women. I'll take that back.
Go ahead, sister.
I'll take that back.
You know they grow up, bruh.
Why are you saying grow up? They're rough when they even babies.
I'm saying, like, you grow up. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think your
I'm
mom?
joking. Hey, I got a good relationship with my mom now.
That's what's up. I mean, I do too. But I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure she don't be like, hey, Hamid is fun.
I think she do. I think my mom's favorite child anyway. So
that's what's up, bro.
That's self-perception is powerful, bro.
Ladies, do you have any thoughts on the dynamic of probably having a kid instead of being in like a union?
Sorry, say that one more time, because I
said, do you have any thoughts on having a kid instead of, you know, being ready to have a kid as compared to being ready to be in a union?
I kind of share the same sentiments.
Hey!
Honestly, I'm more about the kids than I am about the marriage. I think I'm at that stage in my life. But then again, I feel like, you know, men have the privilege of wait, y'all can wait till y'all 60, 70 if y'all want to have kids. Like, we don't have that privilege. My mindset is more so thinking about like,
Sister Nancy, I have a contract for you.
Hey,
out.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
You guys seem very compatible.
You know,
before somebody listens to this and starts sending me messages.
Right.
Nancy, off air, you said that you're not accepting entanglement applications.
No.
Now you're telling us that you are doing motherhood before wifehood.
I didn't say I was gonna do motherhood before marriage.
Said she's looking.
Like that, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'd reiterate the same thing. It's not like I'm saying, oh yeah, I'm about to now go knock up some chicks and like get some kids. Nah, I still want to do it the quote unquote right way.
Yeah, but the role is feels more enticing to you, right?
Well,
yeah, it's like that's what I'm looking forward to in the whole thing.
In a vacuum, the role feels more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I would like to say that, you know, based off of just working with families in general and just, you know, my own personal experiences with my family and stuff like that. When you think about these commitments, like having a child, getting married, on the baseline, you want it to be about love. And for me, what I've come to learn is love should be a selfless move. It should be a selfless action. So when you think about having kids and bringing kids in this world, you know, Before, yes, I would say that I would be closer to what Hamid was saying. Like, I just, at this point, if I have a kid without a husband, that's fine. I could do da-da-da-da. But then when I started working with families, I started realizing that when you make that type of decision, you're making a decision not only for yourself, but for the kid. And what type of world are you bringing your kid into? You have to be very careful, because although you may not need that, the kid may need to have both parents who not necessarily are married, but have a co-parenting situation, are involved in the child's life. Not to say that you have to be married in order to ensure that your kid will have a positive life. Not to say that, all marriages, dictate whether or not your child will be positively functioning in the world. Not to say that, but my personal opinion, and this is where I come to, is that I want to shoot my best shot. So if I could try as hard as I can, I want to make sure that I create a life for my child that is healthy, positive. I want to be able to try to, be in love with the guy or love him and have this child, so that he can have both his parents who love him and he could witness love from both parents. I want to try to make.
But you don't think love is conditional?
It shouldn't be. Sometimes it is. That's the society. That's the reality of it.
I feel like that idea of the unconditional love, or that, that quote unquote love that everyone talks about, it comes with a condition. And I think that's what people don't realize. Like, there's always a condition to love. There's no such thing as like unconditional love. At least that's where I'm getting at in my life now, where I see. I don't think there's a such thing as unconditional.
I think that ain't true. You still with Jada. That's unconditional, bro.
They could have stayed for the kids. They could have stayed for the kids. Condition.
But no, it's a shame.
No. But in the table talk, Will told Jada from the jump, I can love you through anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can say
maybe you fears being alone. There's so much things we don't know about.
Thank you.
Exactly. But I'm just saying. But from what I do know is from what he said. But said, I can love you through anything.
But
so to me, like that would show that's unconditional.
But like the lady said earlier,
trying to fix her.
Nah, but like the lady said earlier. Plus, I think in that red table, they alluded to it where Will was like, I'm gonna get you back. She's like, I think you already did that. That's alluding to the fact that, bruh, you did yours too, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, it ain't unconditional.
If you're planning to get married, both people, as women, we're taught, once we get married, there's a possibility that the man could do X, Y, and Z. With love, especially.
I think that's everybody, though.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think they groom us. I don't know. I've never
born people.
Exactly.
You could cheat. You could do this. For the woman to leave, it takes a lot. Usually, I don't know. That's just how Haitians.
Nigerians, we the same.
It takes a lot for a woman to decide to leave.
But Go ahead.
Oh, so what I'm saying, like when you get into a marriage, not saying that whether you choose to stay or leave, that's your decision. But once you get involved with someone and you choose that the marriage is a track you guys want to go, I think that, again, when it comes to selfless love, you have to understand that this person may do certain things that you don't like. It might come a time that the things that you would never expect may happen. And what is going to happen after that is for better or for worse, for both parties, not just for the man and not just for the woman. Like, we both have to come to the table with the understanding that we are going to do this through thick and thin.
You ain't finna keep going. You ain't finna cheat on me and think shit finna be sweet, baby. I know we took vows. I know we took vows, my nigga, but shit, baby.
Culturally, we're also taught as men to like build up a mighty home base.
A mighty squadron.
So the woman will, bruh, this guy's a mighty squadron, bruh. Wow. I'm even done with my statement. So.
Yeah, we have made like.
Wow.
I don't think, especially in this day and age, I don't think unconditional love is possible in heterosexual relationships. I'm speaking specifically to that because I am a cis straight woman. I think that we can have love towards our
Yo,
children.
she just hit like a PC 3-pointer right there.
I'm just saying that.
We can have unconditional love with our children.
Exactly. Touchdown.
Speak for myself. I know I would definitely have unconditional love for my children. As for my partner, there are conditions.
For most people.
There are conditions.
And I do think there are people.
Here's my thing.
Is that conditions or just boundaries?
Standards. Different
standards.
It's conditions. You could call it standards, but it's still conditions.
Conditions. All I know is that if you cheat on me, I'm not finna stay.
But where does the term unconditional love stem from?
Let's hear y'all.
No, I'm just saying that Will Smith cannot wear that face he's wearing and say, I can love you to anything, bro, because that face was not, I'm gonna love you to anything.
Yeah.
That face was, I'm dying on the inside. That was, I'm dying on the inside.
But again, where does the term unconditional love derive from? Where does that say?
Once I decide.
So that's like biblical, right?
And not necessarily even just biblical, but the concept.
Go
ahead.
No, Nancy, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that concept of because there are different types of love, right? But when we think about this agape love, this unconditional love, which kind of simulates the love that God has for us, which doesn't necessarily have to be limited to like biblical text. We think about a love that loves people through anything, a love that involves sacrifice, that is willing to take hurt and pain and still endure, right?
Yeah.
And that is a personal choice. If that's how you want to love your partner through and through, cool. I'm not God, and I
Yo, that's my line every time. I'd be like, yo, I'm not God, bro. I love God.
I hurt and what I feel like I can withstand and what I feel like I deserve, right? In a partner, in a relationship. And that's just my personal take. I can love my kids with that kind of, veracity, but in partnership, I have standards.
I think some people. Go ahead, Diane.
I want to clear something up. So when I say selfless love, it's not saying that you don't have standards. It's not saying you don't have healthy boundaries or limitations. I want to clear that up so people understand what I'm saying. So when you grow with someone and you develop a relationship and you decide that this is the person that I'm in love with, at that point, you've already filtered hopefully them out for the better, for the most part, that you know this person to some extent, like know this is someone you trust with, you can kind of submit to, right? So at that point, when you come from that point to marriage, that's what I feel like should be selfless. When I make my decisions, it's not, and this is my opinion, it's not something that I promote everyone to do, but that's only because of, the way I grew up and the experiences that I've had and the broken hearts that I've dealt with, not only from relationships, but family and all of this stuff. That is what I feel that I need, the love that I need. You get what I'm saying? Because that's the love that I'm willing to put out because I know how important it is.
Yeah, and I agree with you in terms of I believe love should be. Because and it will make love the best if it's that way, right? If it involves two people who are selfless and love each other unconditionally, that will make this love thing last forever. Y'all be able to forgive, trust, respect, all that great intangibles. But with us being imperfect, flawed people we didn't just come here at age 30, you came from birth and your parents might have influenced you in a way and some relationships, some friendship, and now you're this old adult with, like, again, you didn't just weren't birthed when you were ready for marriage. So a lot of times, these people who are supposed to love selflessly bring with them certain things that kind of makes it difficult to love selflessly.
Generational traumas too. I think in the Black community that we're still ongoing learning to love each other properly.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even think a lot of people know what that looks like. How
You know, for those who want to know our thoughts on it, make sure you do you know what love is. Talk, by the way. But go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Nance.
I think I was just gonna ask because I definitely agree. I think when I say that I'm not when I'm speaking to not having the capability to not necessarily have the capability because I have the capability, but when I talk about I don't think it's possible for like heteronormative relationships to truly have couplings that are capable of fully loving each other unconditionally. It doesn't mean that you don't have standards, but I think I just want to acknowledge that like humans are fickle and like people can change, right? So even if you've vetted them in the beginning and it's like, okay, this is who I feel, I know I love, and this is who I think they're going to be with me throughout my relationship and my marriage, things happen, right? And when those things happen, that could be disrespectful to you and your personhood and potentially your family. Are you still seeing that you're going to stay regardless of what they do?
So I remember when I was younger, like 18, 19, had like kind of like a mentor, I guess, at the job who was asking me, like, what are your requirements to get married? And she had been married several times, and it was a nursing home. So I used to talk to older people all the time, and communication was always the number one thing. But she would say, what are some things that are like deal breakers that you say, if this happens in your marriage, you will get a divorce? And I listed them. And although I still have deal breakers, like abuse, I cannot deal with, repeated disrespectful cheating, I cannot deal with. But I had a lot more deal breakers. And she was saying, well, if you have a lot of deal breakers, then, all based off what you said, just don't get married. Because 9 times out of 10, those things happen. We have to remember, I think, going into marriage, that you're with someone forever. This is not, just think about your relatives that you live with, the relatives that you have in your family that you cannot choose. Once you get to know your family, once you get to understand and create these relationships, you know that there are times where you have your trying points. And trust me, I'm a whole therapist. I'm quite aware of how people change. Situations change people. Things happen. There's certain things that you can't even like think of or calculate that could happen once you decide to get married to someone. But once I make that commitment to be with someone, I'm going to try my darnest to stay. Now, I do have deal breakers. I still like abuse. I'm not going to deal with repeated disrespectful cheating. No, but at that point, the other person already made their choice. They obviously don't want to be in this marriage at all. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to stand for certain things, in that sense, but I'm going into it with the best foot forward. Again, like I said, I want to be able to know, like, the person that I'm marrying is as committed as I am to making sure that if anything were to happen, we are committed to trying to making it work. And that divorce won't be the first thing. It'll be therapy. It'll be, do we need some support? Do we need to grab on some family members? Stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely always for sure going to be last resort, but is it still unconditional love if you leave, right? Like, can you truly say you still love that person unconditionally if you choose to leave? And I think that's what I'm wrestling with. It doesn't mean you don't love them.
I think sometimes you have to choose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That situation, like, ultimately you do end up having in those extreme cases, like you choose yourself. But I just feel like if I'm choosing to get married to someone, divorce isn't going to be I don't want it to be an easy option. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want the person that I'm marrying to understand that let's not make that an easy option. Let's understand that we're going to try these measures before we get to that.
Definitely.
Respectfully. Okay, well, ladies,
Dang,
you
guys
gave that introspective and profound, you know what I'm saying, tea, you know what I'm saying? I hope y'all sit there nicely.
We brought the right queens on this episode, baby.
We did. So before we wrap up the pod, you know what I'm saying, it's getting late in the night. I know people got to get ready for work tomorrow and all that good stuff. Mitty had
we got entanglements to holler at, you know what I'm saying? We got entanglements.
For those who have entanglements to talk to, but Mitty had a had a movie list. For those who know, when we had the Black lawyers on, we did a top 50. We did 30 of the top 50 black movies that you should have seen. So this is top 50 of white movies. Should we do 30 or should we do all 50?
Mitty, can you find the black movies post? I've been looking for that joint, man.
I find it again.
He put it in the chat that day?
Yeah.
No, I put it in the WhatsApp chat, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, not WhatsApp.
In the Zoom. Yeah, I need that joint, bro.
Go ahead with the list.
I've gone through this list and I've realized I've seen a lot of it. It's 50 movies and I've seen at least 35 of these movies. So that's just giving y'all. All right. So jumping into it. Number 1, The Shawshank Redemption.
Nope.
Gee, what?
I know they said it's the best movie ever, though.
What? Y'all never seen Shawshank?
No, it's not the best. It's just, have you seen this movie?
No. But about that movie, people say it's like the
movie. Morgan Freeman.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
Nope. Shawshank is a great movie.
Sister Nancy, have you seen it?
Yes, I have. It's a great movie.
Okay. Diane said no.
Oh.
Quake, Quake ain't
you ain't even gotta think about it, bro. You already know what facts is, bro.
Surprised me.
So I'm beating you.
It's okay. You can beat me with this one, yeah. But if Quake
got more than 7 on this list, he got more than 7 on this list.
Knows more than 7, I'll be shocked, son.
I'll be shocked too.
Now all right, I'm gonna jump through because I feel like everybody's seen these next ones. The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
You've never seen The Dark Knight?
I've seen
the Batman movie.
Wow.
I've seen that joint.
We saw it, Mitty.
All right. Inception.
I
seen Inception. That was good. Y'all actually put me on that movie.
I think we talked about it on the pod.
Y'all actually put me on to that movie.
Fight Club.
No, I ain't seen that.
That's the Brad Pitt joint, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
I seen it. Pulp Fiction.
I've seen it. Damn. Y'all ain't seen Pulp Fiction.
Forrest Gump.
We all saw Forrest Gump.
We have to.
I think everybody's.
Sister Nancy ain't shake her head.
I've seen Forrest Gump.
Oh, I was right.
Okay. The Matrix.
We've seen it.
That's a black movie.
Will Smith was supposed to be
it's a white movie.
Will Smith was supposed to be Neo in the Matrix.
Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
All right. The next 2 ones are Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and Lord of the Ring, The Return of the King.
I've seen the first one. I've seen the first one.
I've seen them both.
All right. I'm going to go through the ones I don't think y'all seen to speed this up then. 7.
No.
Yeah.
Gladiator.
I've seen 7 and Gladiator.
Silence of the Lamb.
We've all seen that.
Yep.
The Prestige.
We've seen that.
I ain't seen it.
Schindler's List.
Oh, I seen that. That's
showed
about
it to us at school.
Exactly.
But they don't show us about, you know what I'm saying, the black struggle. They don't show us about the real Africa, bruh.
I've seen Schindler's List at school like 4 times.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
It's about like the news. Exactly. I saw it on
Holocaust.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna just post the list on what's it called.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a lot to go through.
Okay.
Hold on. Me and Femi going head to head right now. That's the point of this batch.
So I think I'm winning this batch.
Anywho, well, I want to thank Nancy and Diane for coming on and basking in this lovely conversation with us.
Thank you guys. I do want to say that you guys are wonderful gentlemen, honestly. Like, really, like I heard, the podcast before Hamid added his comments, and I just want to thank you guys for supporting Black women and really not, the stuff that we go through.
We love you.
Arrest Breonna Taylor's killers.
Say it again.
Still not been arrested. I just want to say rest in peace to Breonna Taylor. We are still fighting for her justice. And that is what I wanted to make sure I say before.
Oh, I haven't seen Titanic, but Nancy,
part of the shots.
Thank you for coming on. Do you want to give any last minute speech to name of your podcast? If they can follow you on socials, can they slide in your DMs, all that jazz?
You know, but I can't. But just also standing in with my sister Diane. I really appreciate y'all for just uplifting the voice of Black women and trying to bring in our perspectives and our introspections on, you know, varying situations. We appreciate you. We love y'all. And
Love
you
y'all.
guys can find me on Instagram at nancy.conjo. The podcast coming soon is called The Konjo Show. So I will be, you know, keeping y'all up to date with that. But yeah, that's where you guys can find me on IG and on Facebook. So
Appreciate y'all.
appreciate you.
Alrighty. Well, with that being said, guys, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at AfricanistPod. Make sure you DM us, tweet us, Instagram, whatever, email,
Cash App
whatever.
us.
Let us know what will be in your entanglement playlist. We will put together a playlist and put it out for you guys, hopefully within the weekend or within the week. So please let us know. You can email us at africanistpodcast@gmail.com. Instagram and Twitter again is africanistpod. Our website is coming, just so you guys know. Yeah. So besides that, we out. Peace and blessings. Make sure y'all stay safe. Wear your mask and stay Rona free as much as possible.
Fada. I want to.
Fada.
With that being said, we are out. Peace.
Thank you, ladies, again. We
Yeah.
appreciate y'all. We love y'all. You know what I'm saying?
We love our kings too.
We love our Black queens. You know.
Listen,